So Hibernate is framework which we have actually, which has got more advantages than JDBC, right? I mean, so many dependencies have gone out on that. But anyways, so as of now, we'll first learn the complete JDBC patterns and all, and then when we get back to frameworks in Hibernate, then we'll understand. We'll compare JDBC with Hibernate, and right, and we'll be checking out different patterns in Hibernate over there. So coming to JDBC is it's an API in java.sql, which is java.sql package. It's an underlying API class in JDBC, and the expansion is Java Database Connectivity. So this is the main API so this is the only API I would rather say which is used to connect to any database as such using Java or from Java, right? So this without JDBC API we cannot do any of the connections as such. Directly or indirectly we have to use JDBC in order to connect different drivers and from there in order to connect to the databases we have. So there is what we have called database JDBCs. Even Hibernate internally uses APIs of JDBC, so it is not exposed to out, but whatever we do is internally will be using JDBC. But for user, the pattern will be different in over here and over there, right? We'll see what are they. So basically, when we talk about application, right? So application contains two different entities. The first thing is UI, and the next thing is storage. So it won't be having any other thing, right? Because UI is something, it can be a web UI, web page, or a swing window, or a AWT window, or anything, right? Where everything will be displayed to the user, right? And storage is something where you will be storing data, right, or storing something where UI will be talking, you will be actually having communication with storage things and will be displaying something here. So under UI we have seen that we have two things, CUI and GUI. CUI is nothing but your character user interface, and GUI is graphical user interface, which we have seen under AWTs, right? So it's a AWT. I am writing only AWTs. AWT is something which is mother of all the other components like swings and outputs, right? So under storage you have got files. You can have storage. You can have files as storage devices, or you can have database. So this is where your database comes, and this database is something which is JDBC will be using to understand database, or you also call database or RDBMS, right? So this is where your storage comes. So that's how your any of the application works, or any application or any tier application works. We'll come to tier application now, right? So this is how the application we build, and this is something where we are in now. What we are learning now is database, because we have already seen the file systems, we have already seen the GUI of desktop applications anyway, so we'll be touching upon UI parts on complete web application, right? So GUI can be a web page also, so we'll be touching upon that, and then we'll be seeing the integration parts too, right? Now before entering into this part, let us understand what is tier application. It is tier applications. So basically we have many tier applications. So basically we say we have one tier application, or we say 1T application, which is one tier application. So if you would have attended any of interviews or anything, like they will ask you like on which tier application you have worked. So it's an base question what they ask, but what is the intention behind asking this tier question? Application work experience is I'll explain you this once we complete this tier applications. Now here, so when we say tier application, right, each and every layer of application is called as a tier or tier, we say. So so till now, whatever we have seen, let us say we have built a simple swing window, right, or airability window, where we used to show something, changing colors and something. So it doesn't use to communicate with anything else, right? So that is called as a single tier application, right? Or let us say you have an application, you have something called, let me just open the presentation if you feel. Okay, so let us say you have one layer which is application layer, app layer, let us say, right? Okay, we say app layer, and this app layer is something which is being shown to the user, and this doesn't communicate with anything else. So that is called as your first or one tier application, a single tier application. And what is two tier application? Two tier application can be this: you have an application, and you have a database, let us say. You have a database, and this application is communicating with database and getting the details and showing it to user. So this is a layer, first layer, and there is something else, second layer. So this pattern is called as a two-tier layer. Now you may get some doubt. So will these two will be in a different computers or different servers, right? It can be. So your application layer and database can be in two different machines, where your application is talking to that machine in order to communicate with database. It can happen. Or both the layers, your application layer and database layer, can be in a same machine. So whenever I'm talking about machine or server, right, I'm talking about a physical computer or physical server, right? Both can be in a same machine. Now even then you have got one application layer and one database layer, which means you are actually working on two-tier application, where there is some communication been happening externally to this app and to this database. So this is called as your two-tier application. Now what is three-tier application? So mostly we go for three-tier, which is more optimized. So here you have something called application layer. So now whenever I'm saying application layer, right, it is something like, it can be a website, right, where all your servlets, JSPs, right, or Java classes or APIs, Jar files, third-party components, graphs, everything will be there. So this application layer basically consists of something where you can share this with a user, where he can find the UI and he can get some details of, okay, this is something what is happening in page, right? So that is something where your complete application layer will be will contain, right? And then this application layer will be communicating with something called middle tier. So I can make it maybe something different. So let us say this is something which is middle tier, or I could say middle layer, maybe, right? Middle layer. Now this middle layer again will be talking to something called database. Let us say this database, right? Now here let's get back to middle layer. So we understood app layer, we understood database. Database anyways is something which contains all the tables, right? And in that tables you will be saving the information with your requirement, whatever the requirement you are in middle. So what is middle layer here? So middle layer can be anything. So this is where our web services comes. The main middle layer part is web service. So web service comes in this layer. it is not only web service, it can be anything, the middle layer can be. But whenever we're talking about web service, right, this is where it comes, because we do create web services mostly for communication part, right? Because web service is completely black box to the outside world, right? So users can see only, let us say, let me take an example of Facebook. So users can see only the feed of Facebook pages, right? That's it, which is application layer, right? And whenever you give comment, so how does it is getting saved in database, we never know, right? It can be saved through some middle layer. Obviously it will be saved through middle layer, because if you have middle layer, you can create firewalls in a better way, firewalls in between middle layer and firewalls in between middle layer and database, which is more secure, right? So here we are talking about web service. So middle layer can also be your app server. App server is nothing but, let us say, you have your Tomcat server, right? And in your Tomcat server, you are creating a separate app classes or using third-party components in order to make communication with your application and JDBC, and your database. That can be your app server. Or this complete component can be your JDBC also. What you are doing is, instead of using JDBC directly in your application, right? We have seen in tutor application, if you see here, so this application is directly communicating with database, which means the JDBC layer will be inbuilt here. I mean, we'll be using JDBC API in application layer itself, JDBC API in here itself. But it is not case, it may not be in the case of this. So in middle layer itself, the complete JDBC will be used here. And what happens whenever there is a request from application, this middle layer will get that request, will understand that request, because you have to create an intelligence in middle layer to understand each and every request which is coming from app, right? And this middle layer, with respect to the requirement, will trigger the database, fetch the details, convert the details into some protocol form. It can be XML protocol or a string protocol, and send it back to application. So that is how your 3-tier application works, right? Now, what is this protocol? What is on what basis it will fetch and what basis it will transport the data? We will understand when we get back to Java networking and understanding some protocols like message protocol and transfer protocols and all, right? And basically, when we come to servlets and JSPs, it will be clear. It will be much more crystal clear to what is actually happening over here, right? So that is how this works. And this middle layer can also be something called Java business logic, right? Java business logic. So what we'll be doing is, maybe you are creating a complete servlet components here, and in that complete data transfer is done through some something like sessions or something, right? So this can be even that, which is Java business layer. We call it as Java business layer or business logic. We basically call it business logic. Anyways, even web services are used to create a major business logics, right? So whatever you do in an app layer or a web page or something, right, whatever you want to do, so it is something which works only with basic data transfer. If you are giving any comment, which means it will take who has given comment, to whom he has given comment, and what is a component or image or video he has given comment. So these details your app will be transferring to your business logic layer. We also call middle layer as a business logic layer, right? And in here, let us say if you have built a web service, this will decide, okay, what are the details? Based on those details, let's work with database and save those things in your database. So that's how it gets. And also middle layer is also used for push service. Now what is push service? Now push is something you would have seen if you are using your smartphones, right? It can be Android or iOS phone. So right, like some apps like if you are using Hotmail app or Outlook app in your smartphone, right? So it will have some service called push service. What is push service is, whenever anything gets updated into your database, right? Let us say you have your app. Let us say this app is something, I'm talking about some mobile app, let us say, right? Even for mobile apps you can, so whatever service, the middle layer and database you have created, right, these things also work for mobile applications. So basically let us take an example of Android apps, because I'm familiar with this actually. So let us say this is your Android app. The same web services, whatever you are learning here, same web services and these two layers can also be applied for your apps. But anyways, these two layers will be building upon on cloud, because your mobile apps, you have to create your mobile apps in such a way that it should be so fast, right? It won't take it should not take so much time as your web page is loading. So in that case, what happens here, your mobile app will be idle. So whenever we call push service, right, push is nothing but sometimes there won't be any request. Now whenever any application requests or something, it will be processed and it will talk to database and then it will give you response. So that is something which is on demand request, right? We call it as on demand. But what is push is whenever there is something being updated. Let us say you are a user and you have your application called Gmail or Outlook application here. Now let us say, so whenever there is a new mail coming to database, automatically this app should be refreshed with your that new mail. Now what happens is your middle layer or this middle layer will be working on that. Whenever there is a new update comes up, right, so this will automatically push your email to your app, right? So that is nothing but a push service. It can happen from middle layer, it can happen from business logic or anywhere, or it can also happen that you have your Gmail app or Outlook app or any SMTP client or SMTP in the sense mail client you are using or mail interface you are using. Maybe this is for each and every 1 minute or 15 minutes or some time interval. You can also set this interval in your mobile applications. I hope you know that, right? So based on this interval, it will be demanding. It will be sending a request. It will check whether there is a new email or not. If there is an email, it will sync your app with the new emails. So that is how your push service or on-demand things works. Okay? So this thing is called as a complete 3-tier application, and basically people go for, this is something which is more, the maintenance will be very easy because you are actually separating your application layer and business logic here, right? In that way, if there is any problem with business layer, you can just work on this layer and deploy, right? But anyways, these two will be running on Tomcat, right? Most of the times, because you have to create a it is not Tomcat, it is web server. It can be Tomcat, it can be WebLogic, it can be JBoss, it can be WebSphere, anything, right? But basically, in order to make them work, you have to create some sort of protocol for communication purpose, right? So that is something which is a 3-tier application, right? Which is these layers will be hosted upon, right? So those are the tier applications which we have.
Srinath,
Yes. Hello.
when we are Spring or like Hibernate, then it will be middle layer technology, right?
Yeah, it will be.
Spring.
It will come under business logic, right? So that's why you can create it as a middle layer technology. Yep.
Okay,
So
so
it is
that
not.
application
It is
is a
not mandatory,
your
Swati.
application.
It is not mandatory that your things will come in middle layer. If you are building everything on app itself, it will be 2-tier, right? Then it will be a first layer itself.
Okay,
But yes, you are true that all your things will come in middle layer, because frameworks are basically built only for business logics. Sorry, mainly for business logics, and business logics will come under middle layer. Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Okay, fine. So even for building that frameworks, like maybe take an example of Hibernate, maybe, right? Even for that, you have to create a web service, right? Because there should be again a protocol which talks to your framework design, right? For that, again, we'll be building upon some protocol, or either it can be SOAP or HTTP or RESTful, anything, right? To communicate with that framework component or object, right? Yeah, Swati, is that clear?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fine then. Okay. So, are you using?
Ujjwala,
Yeah, Ujjwala.
I have one question.
Sure.
The two rectangles you have drawn in between app and middle layer, and also in database, that is called as firewalls, right?
Okay, these things. Yeah, this is something called firewall.
Right.
Yeah, firewall. Yeah.
So what do they do? What is
So,
their
so firewall is used for phishing. Phishing is nothing but each and every message, whatever is coming up, right? So first, this layer will check whether that message is the correct message which is intended for this application or not, right? So let us say you have built an XML. Now see, you can build your own firewall. So how can we see? Whenever I'm talking about firewall, right? So basically,
so it is kind of filter.
Exactly.
Okay.
It is a kind of filter, but
Okay.
basically, in technical terms, we call it as a firewall.
Okay.
Yeah, but this firewall is different from your firewall which you are creating in internet. Internet firewall is different, and this
Okay.
firewall we are creating for ourselves. Because we know all the messages whatever are coming from app to middle layer to app, right? So those messages will be again mapping to this firewall, and we'll see each and every message whether it is correct or not.
Okay. So messages means the user input you are saying, or
See, let us take
any action.
yeah, I'll give you an example. Let us say we are talking about some some XML message, let us say, right? XML protocol rather, right? So in this XML protocol, let us say you have defined some tags. Let us say it contains some header tag, right? Or it contains some message, body message, and it contains some footer message, which is some summary message, right? Now don't think it as a HTML header, body, and footer. I'm just taking an header. Header can be anything. It can be something like root tag. It all depends on the XML you are actually designing. I'm just giving an example of firewall here, right? So in header, let us say you are defining everything like which message you are getting, right? Message like, let us say you have filtered your messages, or you have separated your messages with some numbers. Let us say 100 is for login, right? And 101 is for logging out, right? And some message like 208 is for placing an order, or 2007 is these are something which are predefined by your project. It is not an international standard anyways, right? You are following anyway.
Okay.
Now, so these are something which will be filling up in header. Am I right? Now in header itself, this is called as a message type, let us say. Now I'm just giving a simple example. Let us say before getting into so these messages are coming from your app to web middle layer, let us say, right? So before your app will be actually connecting to middleware, but before getting into middleware, so what it will do, it will move to this layer, and in this layer it will pick this header, and it will check all the possible, so all these possible messages will be there in its file system or something, or configuration, let us say. It will check whether whatever configuration it has got, whether that message is there or not. Then if it is there, then it will send to your middle layer. This is a very simple example which I have given. This can extend to any bigger. Now let us say why this is mainly used is, let us say you are actually building a banking application, right? So if anyone is trying to hack your message, right? Maybe maybe whenever he hacks, right, he may be getting the body part. He may not be getting the header part, because this is something which is completely encrypted and it cannot be decoded by anyone, let us say, right? In that case, until unless he sends a header message part, he won't be getting any response. So that can happen when you actually create something called firewall, your own firewall. This firewall is apart from your internet firewall. Fine. So in the same way,
So if I want to, see some information regarding that, what word should I use? Like Java layer.
Yeah, this simple Java class again. You can create this simple project, or your firewall can be included with your middleware. That's fine. Even in your middleware, you are just creating a separate, port communication which is actually talking to your firewall. Yeah, even that can happen. Okay, both are correct. Yeah, or sometimes some people go for separate application itself for building a firewall, right? Because this firewall, again keep in mind that firewall should always be pluggable. It should not depend on anything. Okay, you should create a firewall which should be pluggable. Tomorrow, let us say, if client don't want to get into this firewall, he want to get direct internet firewall, then you should be in position to plug it out, and your application and web middleware should work directly, right? I hope you understand the meaning of pluggableness, right? Like plugging in and plugging out. Plugging in, plugging out is something, even if you remove some component from here, right, your application should work as intended, right? So that is nothing but a plugging. So always you should design a firewall which should be plugging in and plugging out, right? So that should be the yeah, right? So that is a firewall thing. So that is what is your tier applications. And now, so whatever we are understanding is a database part. Now here you have seen so many things like, right? Now here the what business we are going to see is, so anyways, let us say you have created all these things, your application layer. Anyways, we will be touching upon these things mostly in our web application part, because these are something which is nothing but your advanced Java, right? These communications part, servlets and all, and web services and everything will be touching upon. But before that, what we'll be learning is, let us say in this middle layer, even these are something which are classes, right? These are again Java classes. From this Java class, how can we create a component of JDBC and talk to database? So this is what we are going to talk about here, right? Okay. So that is all about tier applications which we have, right? And now, so here we'll see one more thing. Now we always say that Java is a platform independent one, like we say it as a ORA programming, which is write once and run anywhere program, right? But database is something, so whenever you are talking about databases, right, so it can be of any different combinations. It will be like this, like let us say there is an operating system and there is a database, right? Like let us say there are so many operating systems, like Windows we have, right, or we have Linux, right? So these are two big machines where most of the databases will be running. But anyways, let us take Mac also. Now let us say we have database MySQL you have, and let us say you have Oracle database. Let me take one more thing, DB2 maybe, right? Let us say we have these two. Anyways, we have more, you have Sybase, you have Access, you have even your Excel is, you can create it as a database. Now here let us say in Windows itself you have two different things again, which is 32-bit and 64-bit, right? In the same way applies for your Linux, same way applies for even your databases. Some databases, let us say if you are talking about Oracle 99, right? Sometimes Oracle 99 database is not compatible with 64-bit machines. It can happen, right? So in this way, what happens, let us say you are creating an application on Windows. Listen to this sentence very carefully, guys. You are creating an application on Windows which is trying to connect a database called Oracle mounted on Linux. This can happen, which means you are completely talking to different operating systems, and in cross-platform operating system you have a database. This can happen. Even for that, your JDBC holds good, right? But there is some middle thing called driver, right? For all these things, there is one thing called driver which makes the which makes the play happen here. Anyways, we will be using JDBC, but without the help of driver, we will never be able to connect to any database. Now, what is this driver? Now we are talking about something called MySQL, Oracle database, DB2, right? Now, see, I can plant my Oracle database on Windows or Linux or Mac. It can happen because databases are designed. Databases are designed so that it can be planted on or deployed or installed on any platform or any operating system, right? So then only people will go for databases, right? because if you restrict, or if Microsoft restricts that MySQL should be installed only on Windows, then obviously there will be problem. But yes, even in current market, MySQL is mostly compatible with Windows, but Oracle database is compatible with everything. You can have Oracle database planted on Windows and Linux. It works in a same way. That's why Oracle is popular. And even DB2, IBM's database 2 also have got a same role here. Now the main thing is, each and every database will have its own driver, right? Let us say you have Oracle, right? Now basically we know, until unless a database releases its own driver, right, obviously any of the application will never be able to connect to the database, right? Whenever we are saying any of the application, let us say now we are talking about mainly Java application. We are not concerned about other applications. We are mainly concerned about Java application here. Now, until unless Oracle releases its own driver using which we can connect from Java, obviously you will never be able to create any application in Java which connects to Oracle, right? Then obviously what is the major hit? The major will hit come to Oracle, right? Because it is not providing any provision for Java to connect to the database. So obviously each and every database will have its own driver, right? So we'll be talking about driver anyways, right? So that is nothing but your platforms here. Windows, Oracle database installed on Windows, but you're writing a program in Java which is running from Linux, can happen, right? So all these possibilities are met by your JDBC. So yep, this Aura programming pattern is also holds good in your different permutation and combinations of your OS and databases. But yes, there are some limitations here as concerned with driver, because we'll be touching upon the types of drivers first, because there are different types of drivers which each and every database releases, right? And we'll be touching upon the types of drivers, which is very important. But anyways, see, in real time we won't be caring about what type of driver we are using, because we'll always be using some thin driver for web application, some ODBC or JDBC driver for our desktop applications. But here we'll learn the type of drivers. That's why before learning type of drivers, you should be more comfortable with what is the tier applications, right? But because types of drivers mostly works on different tier applications, right? And we'll see what are different advantages and disadvantages of these types of drivers and all, right? So that is what we have, the combinations of this. And as I said, your JDBC is an API again. Now I hope you know what is an API. We call JDBC as API. It is not a concept in Java, it's an API in Java. As we have seen something called swings, right? Swings we call it as, this is not a topic, but this is something which is an internal class package of JavaX, right? JavaX.swings. So in the same way, JDBC is something which is API, right? Now I hope API is nothing but it is a combination of all interfaces and classes and different third-party components which is packaged into a single entity and being provided for usage. So that's why we can use this, right? And this JDBC is compatible with all the drivers. I mean, databases provides many drivers, right? But obviously, even if it provides this driver, this should be compatible with JDBC, right? But yes, Java guys have made JDBC compatible with whatever the databases are in market and their drivers. It is compatible, and they have made it very generic. We'll be touching upon how we can actually create a layer which talks to driver, right? And how driver talks to the next layer of database. We'll be touching upon that anyways, right? So this is something, right, which we have. And anyways, here for each and every combination, right, let us say if you are deploying your Oracle in Linux, and if I'm writing a program on Windows to connect, right, so I need a driver. In the same way, if your Oracle database is again installed in Windows, and if you want to talk to any application from Linux, even the same driver can be used. You cannot have different combinations of see, you can have multiple combinations, right? It doesn't mean that you should have multiple drivers. No, a database should release, or a database have one driver which can connect to any number of combinations. That is possible, right? So that is how your JDBC and the drivers are being made. So these are something which are out of our reach, honestly speaking, because in driver what we can see is how to connect, how to get the data. So these are the two things which we can see, right? So internally what exactly they are designing is, see, each and every release, each and every database will have multiple releases. Now currently they are releasing some, it's 11G going on, like so 11th version of database is going on, which means they would have released, they have released a different drivers, because newer version of Oracle database will have new components, right, which we can use. Maybe it may give driver which is faster than the older drivers. Yeah, it can happen. So in that way, your driver works. But anyways, the driver works completely, as a user friendly with our JDBC and to the or to the any databases, right? So that is how the main thing. We'll be working on this for connecting to database, which is driver. First, we'll just resume the class tomorrow, and we'll understand different types of databases first. Okay. So once we are clear with different types of databases, anyways, it will be like, if you are learning, anyways, you don't have to keep in mind, or you don't have to remind all these types of database, drivers you have and all, because whatever driver they are providing, they'll provide a very optimized driver, and whatever JDBC we are using, I'll let you know which type of driver or which type of combination of driver type we'll be using for our web application, or we'll be using for our desktop application. That is more than enough. But yes, as we are actually building something on databases, it is good that it is good if you learn different types of databases or different type of drivers we have, right? So we'll be touching upon the types of drivers tomorrow, and once we are done with database types of drivers, then we'll resume something like the rules or the steps to connect to database, how to connect, how to get the data, how to process it, what are different types of processing, what are different types of connections, what are different types of statements. Everything will be learning upon. Fine. Fine then, guys. So I hope, let's wind up here. So it is just a class intended to give the basic introduction to this, what is happening, and tomorrow we'll start with something called types of database, types of drivers. Okay. Now before these types of drivers, anyways, I'll explain you where the driver is being used, and then we'll continue with the types of drivers. Fine.
Srinath, Ujjwala here.
Yeah, Ujjwala.
On the line number 55, you have written VORA or JDBC.
Yeah. Okay.
What is the long form of that? VORA?
No. VORA is it's write once.
Read anywhere.
Run anywhere.
Run anywhere. Okay.
Run anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and also about the multi-tier applications. I heard there are multi-tier applications.
Yeah,
too.
there are multiple.
So
yeah.
what means in those applications? What it be like?
Yeah,
for 3T it's a database. And
yeah, it will be like this. It can be like this. It can be like this. Yeah. Sorry. It can be like this. So you have an application there, right? You have your let us say it is a middle layer. Let us say web service layer. You have one more web service layer. You have one more maybe business logic layer, and then let us say you have a database. So how many tiers are there? There are many, right? Which means your application, right? So each and every web service is filtering your messages.
Okay. So that's a web service layer you are saying, right?
Yep, web service layer. Yeah. No. This is a middle layer, and I'm just taking it as a web service. Basically, web service is a main component which creates communication between different things, right? So I just took web service. This can be again a business logic layer. Yeah, that can happen. Anyways, in order to run your business logic layer, obviously you have to create your protocol. How we are creating protocol is through web service.
But it will be the part of the middle layer, right? You are saying?
Yeah, this will be part of middle layer, right? But this is something which is a third party. Let us say this web service you don't have let us say this web service you don't have control for this web service. So some team gave you this web service to use, right? Which means you can create a web service and you are talking to this web service, which means this is one layer and this is one more layer, right? Yeah. And then from this layer you are creating a business logic where you are sending a packet from this to this, right?
Okay.
Which means you don't have hold on this, but you have hold on this and this only, right? And you are getting a database. This can happen.
Okay. So nowadays everybody is using web services. Does that mean all the applications are multi-tier?
No. We can't see. You can create an application. Where you don't have your database itself. You just have an application and you have only web service. So this is a two-tier application, right? It doesn't mean if you are using web service is a multi-tier. Yes, even two-tier is a multi-tier application, but it doesn't mean that all the multi-tier applications will have database. No, you can have a website with a simple web service. Even this is a multi-tier application. Yeah. Okay. And you may be getting. Yeah. Jomi.
Yeah. When you say web services, what do you like? Broadly what all things you include in that?
Sir, what all things?
What all are included in that when you say web service?
So web service also contains a normal Java class, normal Java classes. Even this is a combination of all the normal Java classes. Okay, this is not a big thing, but only thing is you have something called stubs, or we'll be creating something called whenever we deploy. Now, first thing, whenever we have website, right? If you want to access a website, what we'll be creating? We'll be creating a URL, right, Jami? Right, until unless you have google.com, which is a URL, you can't access your website called Google page, right? Yep. In the same way, you will write all the Java classes in somewhere because you don't want to expose all your business logics on your page, let us say, right? So what we'll do, we'll create a separate layer where you're writing a heavy business logic, let us say, right? Heavy business logic. So all these logics again you will write it in Java class itself. As we have seen something called multi-threading, file access, collections. So those are the same thing you will be writing here, which we call them as a business logic, right? So these classes will be embedded in your web service. Now this web service is nothing but, so it contains a special feature where when you deploy this whole package in Tomcat, right, or some web server, you can create something called visual file, visual link. So for web application you have something called URL, right? URL. So in the same way for web service you have something called visual. Visual is something called web service dynamic link. This visual will be using as a connection component in app, and then the communication will be going on. But anyways, if you are talking to this, which means you are talking to the normal Java classes. See, in our core Java we have created something called object, right? If you remember, in order to access one class from other class, what we have done, we have created an object, right? Am I right, Jami?
Yeah.
In this case, we'll be creating something called visual, and we'll be talking to the classes. So it is as straight as that. But anyways, you'll understand much better when we create a web services, right? When we come to web service topic, you'll understand. We have web service topic in our course content, right? So not to worry. Once we complete servlets and JSPs, we'll be talking about web services. We'll go in depth of web services. We'll go both RESTful services and SOAP services, right? Not to worry. SOAP and RESTful, right? And also we'll be talking upon both CXF and access to, right? Access to web services, and also we'll be talking upon what is JAX web service and all, right? You would have seen this JAX web service in your web application, right? In your something called Eclipse, you would have seen that, right? Okay, I haven't created any web application. I'll show you that. Okay. Fine then. So, any more questions, guys? So someone is typing. Okay. Fine then, if everything is fine, so let's meet up tomorrow, guys, and we'll resume with our types of drivers we have. Fine.